To Amuna Relationship Flow Podcast. This is a one-time dedication to all our soulmates and to all our friends and family and to everyone out there seeking connection. We're focused today on dedication. That is the flow today, and I appreciate that everyone who joins us for a one-time Thursday 3:15 podcast. Maybe we'll do it again if you guys like it. It's going to be, based on some feedback and demand, but the likelihood is this is a one-time thing, as our Monday weekly class, Amuna class, is being recorded again now today in the studio. This is the edited version. We already put out the live version on Monday, and being, instead of repeating what I spoke about Parshas Matos Masai and about the whole idea of fighting for truth, like we spoke about the previous week, and this week was in my home. We very much went into a lot of important points that feel very real for our time, that we're all going through. The idea of being consistent and persistent and not giving up. And that was one of the reasons why we even did the class, that we should always go ahead, no matter what, always keep strong and focused, and especially in our relationships, we need that mindset. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to introduce my Relationship Flow podcast that I do on a weekly level. This will go up on there, as well as our Muna is our future podcast. Very important that I get to keep putting out content on my two podcasts. Thank God it's been going very well and people are tuning in, and it's with much appreciation for all of you, because you make these classes reality. We have, thank God, our beautiful studio in Yerushalayim, and we thank our host, Rav Shalom Arush. And the good news is we do have a wonderful guest, an awesome guest for Sunday for our Muna class. His name is Shmuel Stengen, and his stage name is Bainani. So you guys are going to have the opportunity to touch base with an a cappella rapper. We obviously would love to have beats and the whole thing, but it's during the 3 weeks. So we're going to have an a cappella style, and someone who's very inspirational with his music and his wordplay. He'll be coming here Sunday at our 8:15 for sound check, and 8:30 we'll go live. Please God Israel time. You know how it goes. Usually it's a little bit after 8:30, but the point is you join us live and share the link. So thank God, as I see every week, that even if you're not there at the live part, just like today, we have the opportunity to tune in and to share the content after the fact on all our different platforms, our podcast platforms, and all the live feeds on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. It makes a big difference to us, the way, thank God, that people are tuning in and being part of our journey together. Just like in this week's Parsha, the Jewish people are going through a journey. It's a big deal. 42 journeys. It's not whatever. And being married, thank God, is, I know myself in my personal journey, that the idea of finding a soulmate, thank God, for me was very blessed. I've spoken about it in the studio, how I found my soulmate for Tu B'Av. If you go back to that class, maybe I'll do it again. The coming Tu B'Av, which is after the 3 weeks, the 15th of Av. It's a very special day of reunion and unification and united souls. That's when I put out my first collaboration album a year ago already. And thank God we're already now finishing off the editing of our book, United Souls. And in this podcast, Relationship Flow, the concept is that we flow, but the focus is on relationship. And specifically in the last bunch of weeks, it's been on intimacy, an intimacy series, because intimacy is very big part of our relationship flow, that we should join together and we should become one. And that means a lot of support. It leads a lot of emotional awareness, a lot of emotional health and intelligence. Ability to be able to combine with another person is not a small thing, and to become one with another person. Obviously, there's the physical level, and then there's the spiritual level, the soul level. But generally, what we've focused over here is on the emotional level, because as all the great experts know in relationships, there's a lot to do with the emotional level, and the Torah itself discusses that as well in all the Torah sources. When you get married, you get special classes, and it helps guide you towards Shalom Bayit, which is peace in the home. And one of the key elements that they discuss there is about the relationship on the emotional level, that you should be warm and connected and dedicated together. It's not something which should be disconnected and whatever. So I thank you guys for whoever's being interactive and commenting, giving feedback while we're speaking. But the concept today that we're going to really delve into is dedication. We spoke about in our Relationship Flow podcast being there for the other person and being supportive in all the different levels, either financially, in emotionally, being supportive in terms of just being there. That really was the last week's focus, and being there in itself without saying anything intelligent or trying to like make a point. It just being there is in itself such an accomplishment that you, if you would realize, like after being married, thank God, almost 20 years, the profound effect of just being present and showing that the other person, that you're there for them when they're going through a harder time, or even when they're going through a momentous time, a special time. You know, the idea of husbands turning up late to all these important moments, it's not okay. It's actually a problem, and it shows a lack of dedication, which is what our class is today about. And being dedicated is something which, I'm trying to constantly generate that profile and that reality in my own home of dedication. I try to be there for my wife, for my children, for my parents, the larger sphere around me, my family, even though right now with Corona, I've been prevented from seeing them in person. But thank God that's given us a lot of people ability to now focus in on the closer circle of people like your wife, your children, or your husband, your children, and be able to really tune in to the people that are really priority overall. We're not saying that seeing parents is not important, but based on many classes I've been listening to from Y.Y. Jacobson and other experts in relationships, advice, like Coach Menachem, other people out there, we see that and I mean, I have a long list if I would go into it. There's Dr. Lieberman, David Lieberman, and there's also there's another very good rabbi, I've forgotten his name at this moment. Whoever wants to put in underneath, well, maybe I'll put it in underneath the list of different great relationship experts. Obviously, we have Rav Shalom Arush, his book of God and of Peace, and had the merit to hear from him, and also the Woman's Wisdom book. You can get that to really tune in to the relationship focus with Amunah, and that's obviously a big part of what we're doing here in the studio. But the idea that I got from Y.Y. Jacobson, I think it's Yosef Yitzhak Jacobson, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like Yosef Jacobson, the idea that we have the ability to tune in to the other person in our life, the soulmate, is the key person, is the first priority, is our first things first clarification, that the person that is most on our mind and most in our heart has to be our soulmate, whoever that is in our life. If it means some people who are not meritorious to reveal their soulmate, so then it would mean the person next to that, like our best friend or whoever it is that's very fundamentally close of us, they have to be priority. Now, when it comes to marriage, that overcomes even things like honoring parents. So when it comes to dedication to clarify how important it is, there has to be more important than the financial support, the money side of things. So you say, but I'm using the financial aspects of my life to support my other half. So therefore, I need to put more time into the money side so that I can therefore then be there for the other half. But we've learned already from Rav Shalom Arush and with the concept of Amunah that it's very clear that if you're dedicated to your spouse, which is Ratzon Hashem, which is the will of God, then you will not have any lacks because God is the one who's providing all your financial support. And you'll have the divine inspiration and the clarity of thought and the ability to be successful in your business dealings because you're dedicated to the right things in your life, which is in the inner level, the will of God. And that's what Rabbi Nachman himself says in Likutei Moharan, in Tanina. He says over there in Pei Zayin, the idea, Torah Pei Zayin 87, the idea in the second chelik, the second part of Likutei Moharan, the idea that you have to focus in on the will of God, the will of Hashem, and that itself would draw the will of your soulmate towards you. So by tuning into the inner will, the inner Ratzon, as Rav Arush talks about also beautifully in the Or Chodesh Sefer, and the New Light, and Gedalia Fence has been bringing that to our attention a lot. Especially, we just put up his very important class on fighting addictions, which, in my opinion, in our generation, we all need help from the recovery world, from the 12-step world, in order to be able to fight the addictions that are out there, to give us that strong connection. And Gedalia very nicely brought it into Rabbi Nachman's Torahs, and specifically Rav Arush, the idea of will, and really tuning into the aspect of Ratzon, of what Hashem wants, what the inner will of a person is, and allowing your will to become one with Hashem's will. That in itself will bring the soulmate and bring the people around you closer. And that's the key. So by be dedicating to the true will, you'll be dedicated to your soulmate, which will give you all the divine abundance you need in your business, in your whatever you need to do. So for example, for me, I'm very into booking artists, Unity Bookings. So right now we're now working obviously with Nissan Black. We've got the summer tour coming up, and I can include now Levi Cohen, another beautiful singer. Thank God we've just clarified again. He's available for concerts. I put it out there, and I have other things. You can contact me. My details are below. Everything that I'm doing, there's always an email and links, all the different projects, to be able to have a beautiful musician who's coming to America to perform for your simchas, for your events. This is for me my way of bringing abundance, and as well as obviously working with Rav Arush, and we're going to be doing our Munah tour, please God, in October, and we're very excited, and we'll announce it more on our Munah class next week. But we basically have a schedule now set out, with the Lighthouse Torah Project being our first and host with Gedalia Fenster in Miami and Michael Ben Melech. And please God, then we're going to continue on in the rest of the part of the tour. The 17th of October, Sunday, would be the Lighthouse Torah Project, and then we'll travel on after a little bit more time in Miami to New York. And the 20th, we've already clarified, we're going to be doing a big event with Gedalia Fenster, more details to come in New York. And then 21st, please God, in a private location, someone's home. And then we're going to have a beautiful Shabbos, please God, in the Monsey area. And then, please God, we're going to go ahead with a Motzi Shabbos, a big event. Please God, we thank you, Hashem. And then a Sunday in Staten Island, and that's it. Back to the Holy Land, Baruch Hashem, with 2 parshas of Lech Lecha, Vayera, going out. And that's, for example, my hishtadlus, my efforts in the income world for Rav Arush to be able to bring, Baruch Hashem, donations and partnership, but even more importantly, to connect with the people who are in New York and in Miami in person, and all the people that are traveling from other places. Some people have mentioned they're going to be flying from other parts of the US to join us together and to connect together in person with Rav Shalom Arush, and to be able to bring that light of Rav Arush, of Amunah, to you. That's part of the will of Hashem for me. That would be, but in order to get that really successful, whatever I'm doing, the bookings, the tours of Rav Arush, whatever it is, it has to be with dedication to the other half. It has to be dedication to the soulmate. That is part of the trip. The shalom bias, the peace at home, the connection, the focus on the other half, on the soulmate, is what brings the vessel, the peace, the shalom, to be able to have the blessings come. And if you feel like you're going through a hard time, for example, in your relationship, and you feel that you're having a hard time financially, as Nissan Black, who sat in this chair that I'm sitting in right now in the studio, said, that you have to check, and even if you're making loads of money, for example, then, and you don't have peace in the home, check what's going on with your well-being, your emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being, because it's not going to be the blessed income. It's not going to be a abundance that brings blessing to your life if it doesn't go together with your soulmate. Whatever you do, any hobbies, any side projects, if it doesn't go together with peace in the home, with your shalom bias, then it doesn't have the true dedication. For example, I'll just give you a personal story. I was the Midnight Rabbi for many years. Midnight Rabbi was a big project for me. I was out there on the streets every night. I was just there today by Ben Yehuda, all those areas, and out with the students. And then I was out at the programs all night, every night, learning with guys, picking them up. Anyone who remembers back then, the Midnight Rabbi, can give a shout out. But the idea, and I still have that name, thank God. I think it's still relevant because I'm online, I'm available for whoever needs me. But the dedication I had for the students was every night. And that didn't just stay on a weekday level. I brought them into my home as well, Shabbat, Shabbos, and I even ended up in some rehab, helping them. I ended up, traveling when I went to America eventually and other places. I reconnected with them. It was a big part of my life. But the key, and this was the most important thing, is as soon as I saw it was contradicting my dedication to my wife and my children, and my rabbis, thank God, my rabbis guided me and said, wait a minute, your marriage comes first. And right now, even when I was managing Nissan Black, for example, I was a manager for him before I became his booking agent. and it was taking over. I was traveling too much and all this. As soon as it went out of balance, my rabbis were like, no, 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 this is not going to bring you the blessing that you're working so hard for. So therefore, you need to stop. And you need to focus in on being dedicated to the other half. And then all the blessing will come. Then you'll be successful with this music artist. Then you'll be successful with dedication for at-risk youth or people that are young teenagers that are needing spiritual inspiration and spiritual guidance and other emotional places, things as well, like giving them Shabbat, giving them meals. Some even slept in our house. All different kinds of kindness that we did. But even right now, I'd love to have Shabbos gifts. My wife isn't feeling 100%, so we held back from that. You know, like right now for this time period, you know, thank God she's recovering, and she should be healthy always. But the idea that you have to like know there's times for things. And as much as I want to be able to reach out and do kindness, the biggest kindness I can do is to focus and be dedicated to my soulmate. And this will go into every aspect of your life. Be very like, you know, transparent and open with you guys who are tuning in. The idea that relationships is about dedication. And if you get that clear, you're dedicated on a daily level. It's not like you can have a holiday. As much as you think, if only I have freedom, as Gedalia was talking about, escapism. If I could just escape from this obligation, if I could just escape from this daily grind, can I escape from this work in my marriage that's so needed? If I just escape, I'll have more energy to be able to come. There is such a concept that you need to re-energize before, you know, going home, like eat something, drink something, take care of yourself a little bit. But to ever remove the dedication aspect in your relationship is a mistake. It's a mistake. It's a bottom line a mistake. If anything gets in the way between you and your soulmate, it's a mistake. And people say, but I love my Rebbe more. I have to go to Uman no matter what. I remember many Breslovers told me, if it's not Shalom Bayis, if it's not relationship focused, it's not going to be blessed. The Rebbe himself sent people back away from them when they came to him and they were not relationship focused and they were focused just on the Rebbe and their connection to spirituality. If they were not focused on the soulmate, then all their spirituality wasn't really true. They're not really tuned into the true will of Hashem, which is to be together with your soulmate, so that when you go to the Rebbe, you're with the soulmate come with you. Even if she's not physically there, her Shekhinah, her holy presence is there. The soul connection continues. United souls continues wherever you go. There's never a disconnect. As it says in Talmud Devorah, you're always with your soulmate. The soul, the Shekhinah goes with you wherever you go. And this is the idea, the binding of your relationship. So you remove that mistake and mindset that if you could just escape, there's no such thing. There's no escape. It's not a prison. It's a dedication. You want to be dedicated to this person because it's the truth. It's coming from love. It's coming from a real bond, a real connection, a oneness, a reality of the soul that's manifesting through your actions and your speech and how you are in the home. And if you get to that root level of the relationship, the dedication aspect, the soul connection, the united soul connection, then you can go through every challenge, every difficulty, and nothing will hold you back from having shalom bayis and therefore being blessed with everything you need financially, with children, with everything you need. And you'll say, well, what about it didn't work out for me? Okay, so build that within your inner world. Build those truths of an inner, be dedicated to the will of God and build relationships in your life that are real and true, even if it's not a physical wife or husband, but build it in your relationships, that they're real dedication there, real dedication to people who need and deserve that dedication and are right for that dedication. My hope is that these words, I'm just keeping it short this week, will inspire you. And on a weekly level, we're going into intimacy again. Please God, I'm not going to do that on here because, you know, this is a more public forum on the Breast of English channel. But the idea is you can come with me, travel with me with the links below, with the podcast link and thank God now we've got a blog link that we've been using for Muna's Our Future blog. And the Breast of Israel blog is now, Baruch Hashem, is getting more and more established week by week with all the podcasts. So you can just listen straight from there onto Spotify and all the other places, the podcast feature. And this gives us opportunity to travel together, even if you can't visually look at me, me sitting in the studio. You can, Baruch Hashem, you can tune in into the audio, which for me, I personally feel is a big plus to just listen to people and while you're traveling, while you're moving, while you're eating, whatever you're connecting into the voice that inspires you, that helps you, that guides you. And we all need relationship guides. I know myself, as I mentioned before, I have many of them. I name a few more. Fisher Schechter, someone I get a lot of inspiration from. And obviously, the Tolner Rebbe of Yerushalayim, someone who's guided me a lot through my hard times. And I would say all these different guides, including, just from learning from all people, from watching other relationships and seeing the dedication that goes on, being inspired by other people's dedication in their shalom bias, and being able to open ourselves by doing this, Parshas Matas Masai, and this time period that we're in, it's a challenging time. There's a lack of shalom bias, a lack of peace between us and Hashem, and lack of peace between us and the world. That our journey is to bring that love, that pray for, as Rabbi Ash is saying, pray for everybody, pray for that love between us and Hashem, and love between other people, and please God, and all people, and please God, that dedication that comes with that Mesiras Nefesh that the Rav's talking about, Rav Shalom Arush, is guiding us towards, should manifest in our relationships, and the prioritization and the dedication will bring everything good for all of us. Amen. Everyone should be blessed with beautiful Shabbos, a Shabbos Chazak, a good Rosh Chodesh, should be with Shalom Bayit, and please God, we'll turn around these 9 days we're about to enter the Shabbos into time of joy, time of simcha. Hashem should spread upon us the tabernacle of peace. Tabernacle is a funny word, but sukkahs of peace should spread upon us, this dwelling of peace in our life, and we should be blessed with everything good. Once we've got that dwelling of peace, all the blessing will come pour into our relationships, and we'll see only good. Amen. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this on, and we'll be back to our regular time Sunday and Monday with our Munah class Rav Orish and our special guest Bainani, and please God, myself, Eli Gossip, for our weekly Monday 3:30 class, Israel time. Amen. Thank you. Share on.